Welcome to part two, because I got to get ready to go get my ass in the shower. So, I want to talk about reverse racism and Asians for Trump. Alright? So, before I get you upset, before I hurt your feelings, I'm going to apologize right now. Alright? I'm apologizing to the Asians that support Trump, to the one Native American that I follow that supported Trump. I apologize. I apologize. You do not have to accept my apology, and I will be honest about that. I don't give a flying damn if you don't. No F's given. If you don't accept my apology, it's fine. You don't have to. You have that choice to not accept my apology. And I have that choice to not give a F. Alright? So, I watched a lot of old school videos for Trump when he was running for president. And I watched a lot of black people who support Trump, a lot of white people who support Trump, and a lot of Asian people who support Trump. This video is for you. You're not going to like this video. So sorry, not sorry. Now I'm done apologizing for what's going to be truthful and from my point of view. Again, if you voted for Trump, I don't have anything against you personally. Because a lot of people voted for Trump because they were misguided. A lot of people voted for Trump because it was all about getting more money. Because he was promising them money. But before I go any further, why don't you ask all those guys that are getting locked up by all of the shit that happened at the White House during the election thing? Why don't you ask those guys if he's going to bail them out of jail, and do they still feel loyal now? Ask yourself, if you were one of those protesters and you haven't gotten caught yet, but when you get caught, and you will, is he going to be there to bail your ass out of jail because you went down there in the behalf of him? And if you think that he is, here's a news flash for you. Many kingdoms have been toppled by the death of a king who has promised people something and stabbed them in the back. Well, let me give you one better. Especially because I'm probably about to piss off a bunch of Asian people now. If you have not read The Art of War, you might not be Chinese. If you are, and you have read The Art of War, and you know for a fact that Sun Tzu was the most powerful warlord commander that ever was, sent all the pawns and the weak soldiers first. The real soldiers hang out in the back. So when all the pawns are wiped out, and all the other soldiers have sent their best men to wipe out our best, but they're not wiping out our best, they're wiping out our worst. So when they finally get to the best, they're too tired to fight back. And then we slaughter them. And then we go after what's left of their army, and we cut them to ribbons. Now, I totally mistranslated that, but you can go read The Art of War. These people that stormed the White House and did all this shit in the name of Trump, they got fucked. And they're getting fucked as we speak. They are totally getting fucked because he's not going to save y'all. Understand that. He does not have any more power now. He can't write you a presidential pardon. And you're probably going to be sitting in jail for 20 years or better for some bullshit because you supported a guy that was either going to get your wallet fat or you had a good idea behind his racist rhetoric because it didn't affect you and it didn't reach your Asian or it didn't reach your colored or whatever people you are. There was a bunch of black people that supported Trump. A bunch of them. Hey, I ain't mad at you. I'm furious. Because you fail to understand. Alright? I voted for Biden. Now let me explain why. I've explained this more than one time on many of these videos. I don't like doing politics. Because politicians, none of them really honor their word because they're too busy fighting for themselves. Every politician sitting in the White House right now feed us what we want to hear. And then, when those damn doors close, they argue and bitch about shit that works for them, but not us. So it doesn't really matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you look at your wallet today versus when Obama was in office versus when Clinton was in office, you tell me what the fuck the percentage of your difference is, because I need to know. Because I'm going to tell you the truth. When Clinton was in office, I didn't have to work 2 jobs. I was also like 19. When Obama was in office, I had to work 2 jobs. When Bush was in office, I had to work 2 jobs. And even though I worked 2 jobs, my wallet never filled up because I still had bills. When Trump was in office, I had already lost a 2nd job. And my pocket still didn't get fat. Now, that doesn't matter. So, here's my thing. If you follow him because you're poor and you were misguided and you just knew you were going to get money, I respect that shit. But if you followed him because you're secretly a racist, I don't respect that shit. Because if you're going to be racist, just be honest about the shit. Now, like I said, here's the part where I piss off black people and Asian people. Because a lot of blacks followed Trump. Even though Omarosa said that this man has used the N-word on a couple of occasions in the White House and no one really reported that shit, I don't like Omarosa. But I'm going to take her word for it. Because see, the thing that you don't understand is kind of like those bums that live in the alley and always talk about spaceships and invasions and shit. And now if you look at all these channels, like the Travel Channel and History Channel, and they're all of a sudden, the free acts come up so we can talk about Area 51 now without worrying about getting shot or disappearing. You know, when all this shit started happening, you got to think about that shit. You know, maybe those alcoholic bums laying on the street have seen some shit. Which is why I will take Omarosa's word for her being threatened and being called the N-word, not just by the former president, but by other people in the White House. You understand? Now, truth be told, I wasn't going to vote for Biden. I already told y'all. My first choice was Elizabeth Warren. My second choice was Andrew Yang. And my third choice was PDP. So, yeah, you guys are following a guy who's going around telling Asian people that the Chinese virus, the Kung Flu, the Wuhan disaster. And there's a video of him shooting out these names. If you are Asian, you should be ashamed of yourself. Because he's the cause of the insight of all the Asian attacks. Alright? Let me move on to my black people real quick. If you are black and you're following this man, after Omarosa, his right-hand black chick, sit there and said, you know, what she said. And you're still following him. You know? What's wrong with you? I hope you're following him because you're wallet. You've heard him be racist to people of color, of Asian people, and a few black people. And now this is the part where I tell you my grievances with him one more time, in case you missed it. I am of Cherokee descent. I am of black descent, and I am of white descent. So I have a problem with him on at least 2 levels. The main level I have a problem with him is that they don't look like Indians to me. And I was 19 years old when he was making this big fuss about casinos because the government had decided that Native Americans were suffering so bad that we could get subsidies by putting casinos on Native American land and inviting non-natives to come play and spend their money. The casino benefits the tribe so that the tribe can get money. So everybody that lives in certain casinos get their checks. Alright? Because we have to have a life. And the fact that poison in the tribes is alcohol. Because the government gave alcohol to everybody. And alcohol has been the one thing that has led a lot of Native Americans to their doom. Now, a lot of Native Americans don't even leave the reservation because they can't get American jobs. Because up until 1929, Native Americans didn't even have rights. They weren't even counted as American citizens. So if you think I don't have the right to be angry at Donald Trump for they don't look like Indians to me, then you go to my Native American grandmother and you dig her little ass up and you ask her how she felt about that when they didn't have rights and the only way they could survive was to leave the reservation because there's no jobs there. No paying jobs. You know, you work whatever you work, but you still aren't making the money that you need to make to just barely get by. So I don't have the right to be angry because I'm part Cherokee. I have every fucking right. And then there was that Standing Rock thing. Oh, don't worry, I have no connection to the Keystone Pipeline, and when I become the president, I won't let anybody touch it. And then we have Obama who says, don't worry, I'm going to protect you guys. It's my last act as president. As I'm leaving, I'm going to protect you from the Keystone Pipeline. Day one, as the president comes in, the first thing he does is the Keystone Pipeline is going to happen. You might not remember this, but a bunch of Native Americans put a teepee in front of Congress and other places out there to protest against the pipeline. And a young white girl from the movie Insurgent got arrested at least twice, trying to protect the Sioux Nation from a pipeline that was sworn by a president going out for protection, and a president coming in who told them that if he won, he would not touch their land. So for the one Native American that supported Trump, you know who you are. I still follow you. I'm going to continue to follow you. And I'm going to continue to ask you, why in the hell would you follow a man who hates your people? For the blacks and the Asians that follow him, I'm going to ask you the same question. Why in the hell would you follow a man that hates your people? Yeah, I do not like Trump. I don't want to see any harm come to this asshat. But I will tell you this. When he insulted the Chinese reporter with the "why don't you go ex-China," each and every one of you Asians that were doing this Trump 2020 shit, forgive me. Y'all should probably all be slapped in the face. Y'all should understand the palm of her hand and my boot to your ass. Because it wasn't too long before that, then he started calling it the Chinese virus. It wasn't too long before that when he started calling it Kung Flu. And it wasn't too long before that some young Asian girl was on a fucking train in New York and got attacked by a black dude. It wasn't too long after that an Asian man was sprayed by Lysol. It wasn't too long before that in San Francisco where a black dude would try to beat an Asian man over some motherfucking cans. So for you Asians and blacks supporting Trump, these innocent people, who all, by the way, except for the young girl on the train, were elderly. There was not too long ago, about half a year ago, some 4 black girls decided to beat a 55-year-old Asian woman up at the bus stop. And 2 weeks after that, some other person set another old Asian woman on fire. And 2 weeks after that, another Asian attack. There was an old woman out in California somewhere that was getting chased by some jackass with a bottle of goddamn Lysol. There was a young Asian man who got sprayed by Febreze by a black man on the goddamn L train or some shit in New York. And y'all want to know why I'm mad that the blacks and Asians Trump 2020 shit. Now, if you're supporting him because you wanted your wallet fat, I get it. But what I don't get is why you would stand for someone who would incite racism. Period. Blacks got enough problems in this world. Asians got enough problems in this world. And for anyone to support a racist, you seem to understand nothing. I may have just pissed y'all all off. But what I hope I have done was open your eyes. I saw it. A lot of you guys who were supporting Trump rode around like this. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. But what it was see no evil and hear no evil, while the entire time, especially with Asian reporters, it was go ex-China. Now what would have happened if it would have been a Japanese reporter and they were like, what? I'm not even Chinese. They just had a meeting 3 days ago with Daniel Day Kim and some other people talking about the attacks on Asians. They had to put a task force together because of the attack on Asians. So for all you Asians that has not reached you and you have been blessed not to be beaten by some racist asshole who doesn't know that you're not Chinese, but because all Asians look alike, they want to fuck y'all up. You need to think about that shit while you're standing there with your Trump 2020. And for all you black people who don't have Asian friends and you're supporting this man who did not apologize to the Central Park 7, who was 5 black kids that did not rape that white woman but went to jail for damn near 20 years of their life that they can't get back, and this man wasn't man enough to say, I'm sorry. Now, if you see my first video, I apologized to y'all when I said I'm sorry, not sorry. I am sorry, but at the same time, I'm not sorry, and I'm hoping that I'm making some kind of sense, and if I'm pissing you off, then I'm doing a fucking job, because here's the thing. My name is James Williams Jr. This face you see before you is Nagraloid, Cockrozoid, and Mongoloid. Let me put that to you in English for you. I am black, white, and Cherokee. Nagraloid, black, Caucasoid, white, Mongoloid, Asian. So when you go and Google the 3 species of Earth, And I did not pronounce those right to save my life, but that's what you're gonna hear. So if you're Spanish or Mexican, you fall more into the Mongoloid case. Now, if you're Spanish from Spain, you're pretty much Caucasoid, which means you're probably more white. Alright? Now, if you're Spanish from Mexico and you are a descendant of the Mayans, the Incans, the Aztec, the Amazons, your fucking ass is Asian. Alright? Because those are Native Americans, and Native Americans came out of Asia. So if you don't understand your history, and I could be wrong because history is full of mysteries, and some of that shit that we've been taught is bullshit. I.e., I had to relearn about the Native Americans crossing out of Mongolia into Russia, into Alaska, and splintering off into the United States. So if I've pissed you off, maybe I'm not the only one who needs a history lesson. Maybe I'm not the only one who needs a refresher course. But I will say this. I might be sorry for how I am saying what I am saying, but I am not sorry for what I am saying. So if I'm pissing any of you Asians off for Trump 2020, and if you were following him even after he was calling your fellow Asians Kung Flu virus, Chinese virus, Wuhan disaster, etc., and you were still following him because, oh, I'm Japanese, so it doesn't affect me. Oh, I'm Filipino, so it doesn't affect me. Oh, I'm Korean, so it doesn't affect me. Oh, I'm from Laos, or I'm from Malaysia, I'm from Indonesia, so we don't give a fuck. Two things wrong with that picture, because one, if you're from Indonesia, Indonesia was pretty much settled by China. No. If you're from Tibet, sadly, China kind of runs Tibet. No. They're not saints, but who is? People who will honestly own the shit that they do and say. I'm one of those people. So you're not going to like me, and that's fine. And I'm pretty cool with you guys leaving my channel and coming back and leaving my channel, because the truth of the matter is, I'm telling you the truth. I'm giving you 99.9, and you can go find these videos yourself, and then you can come back and confront me with it if you want. I'm not going to clap back. It's not worth me wasting my time. Because if I put you in a direction, and you found the direction, you may be like everyone else. There's a word for it. It's called denial. Let me break that down to you so I can leave this video and go get rid of this superhero stank from the martial arts that I've done. See, the thing about denial is, no one wants to believe for a New York minute that their heroes are assholes. No one. No one wants to go, oh, look at Spider-Man, and swing by. Spider-Man goes, shh, and on the way past, he's swinging by, he's giving everybody the finger. No one wants to believe that Spider-Man would do that. They might mistakenly think that Venom would do that, but Venom would probably lick the shit out of them on the way past, plus give them the finger. The truth of the matter is, no one wants to believe that someone that they idolize as a hero could be a dick. Alright? And maybe they are, and maybe they're not. And most heroes are not 100% a dick. But lots of people are not always 100% a dick. But the point being made is that, if you're supporting this man because he was a racist, you're either supporting him because of your wallet, or you're supporting him because you're secretly a racist. And the simple fact is, if you are a racist, what you fail to understand is what I'm about to say right now. What affects white people, black people, and Asian people on a small level will eventually affect us all on a global scale eventually. Because see, it's the one thing that the Native Americans learned the hard way, and we learned it way too late, because Europeans came to the East Coast first. Before Sacagawea took them out west, where the Apaches and Cheyenne and all the other people that was rugged and tough and all of that stuff, where they were, before Sacagawea made it possible for them to have safe passage through there, the Seminole, the Cherokee or Iroquois, the Creek, the Powhatan and all of them, they found out too late to work together. They found out way too late because they were too busy trying to kill each other for land and slaves. Like I said, no tribe of humans amongst themselves are saints. Native Americans fought over territory just like every goddamn body else. Anybody who tells you that they didn't, they're lying through their fucking teeth. Alright? Why do you think the Iroquois and the Cherokee are pretty much the same? Cherokee is an off-brand of the Iroquois, or Iroquois is an off-brand of the Cherokee. I'm not sure which one it is. After I get my DNA test, I'll be sure to let you know, provided I don't forget that I made this video. But the point of the matter is, before they knew what happened, superior firepower took them out. Manhattan Indians supposedly lost Manhattan in a card game. And then you have the First Nations. up north. Then you have the Mayans, the Aztec, the Incans, and the Amazon. Before that was settled, before that settled, everything from North America to South America, from the top of Canada to the bottom of the South American tips, was ours. And when I say ours, I mean my Native American ancestors. But they learned too little too late that what affects one tribe will affect all tribes. Smallpox, famine, diseases that they never had before they encountered the Europeans. But they had other issues. They wanted land. They fought over women. They fought over each other. They fought over the land that they were on. And that's after all the legendary shit with Coyote and other deities. When the Europeans got here, they found out that bow and arrows were not superior to musket balls and gunpowder. So, again, what affects one tribe of people will affect all tribes of people. It's just a matter of who it hits first and how much damage is done and how much can be recovered. So again, because it's not you're Asian, or because you're black and you don't know up from down, it's going to be a problem. So if I pissed you off, I did my job. Because it's going to make you go, maybe we need to look into what James is saying. We can't just be biased and say, alright, that little fucking don't know what he's talking about. Really? Go look for it on CNN. Go look for it on Fox. Go look for it on NBC. Go look for it on ABC. Once something is on the internet, it's on the internet forever. Understand that. There might be some nudes of me out there. Let me know if you find them. I'm kidding. Or am I? But anyway, the whole point of the matter is, we all have our biases. I'm very biased about certain things. But we also have what we call the truth. Alright? Because there's what you see, is what I see, and there's what actually happened. Which is a combo or amalgamation of what both of us saw. We just saw it from two different sides. In other words, it's kind of like being the Geth for Mass Effect. But once you get your shit together and you understand what's going on in this world, you'll understand that, I said some shit that may have pissed off a lot of black people. I may have pissed off a lot of Asian people. And the main reason why I pissed that off is because it's the truth. People get pissed off from the truth more than they get pissed off from a lie. Think about that. I'm going to end this with that, matter of fact. I'm going to say it one more time. People get more pissed off from the truth than they do from a lie. Because a lot of people can live with a lie. It's harder to live with the truth. I am the opposite of that. I would much rather be pissed off and hurt by the truth and get that shit over with than have to find out 20, 30, 40 fucking years later the truth when you could have just told me from the jump to save me a lot of goddamn problems. And save yourself a lot of problems. I'm a truth seeker. So if you don't think anything that I've said here is true, then you can just go look it up. We can debate about that shit on my Instagram. You can debate about that shit the next time I come on. Just leave me one of those little comments that I don't get. And we can enjoy a conversation. I'll make a video for for me to respond to the shit. But since nobody's really watching these things, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, like and subscribe. And if I touched you on some level on a bad way, I'm sorry for how I said it. I'm not sorry for what I said. Because if you say something, you mean it on some level or another, or the shit wouldn't fly out your mouth. Thanks for watching. It's Comfort Fabric number 2. I'm going to take care of my superhero stank now.